This particular YouTube will be about me and Mr. Al Rosario. Happy New Year. It's 2018. Let's hope we can get some act right up in here. Let's hope Secretary of the VA, Mr. Shulkins, can come down and straighten some stuff out. Basically, this is something that happened in the past that is still going on today. This is a port of contact that actually should be in my file and union file, but I guarantee you it's not. Matter of fact, it's not even in my file because I already looked. Report of contact 8/5/2005. This report of contact is documented the concerns brought to this Mr. Rosario, his letter, report of contact, to my attention by Mr. Clark, which is me, and Laura Lamar, which was my union representative. In his concern, Mr. Clark, I had worked in the operating room area for 10 consecutive days. In accordance with the Master Agreement, Article 12, Section 2, he should be temporarily promoted to WG3. Ms. Lamar requested documents dated from December 2003 to February 2005 that shows me, Mr. Clark, was assigned to the OR. Now this is where things get crazy. I completed an audit of the timesheet, and Hector Feliciano, which was my supervisor, did verification. The audit shows that Mr. Clark had been assigned on a regular basis to the OR. However, on 3 occasions did he work 10 or more days. He worked 12 days in April, May 2004, and 10 days in November 2004, for a total of 34 days. This is going to be the reason why we should always stay up on our master agreement and do our own homework. On one previous conversation, I informed Mr. Clark and Ms. Lamar that I understood the situation and agreed on completing the audit of the timesheet. There is also a letter I can't find where he actually said, I told the union no. That's one of the reasons why I quit the union, because Ms. Lamar couldn't get any backing. I also agreed that we should pay Mr. Clark for any time he worked inside the OR in accordance with the master agreement. The OR operates with 4 WG3 employees. Mr. Clark is currently a WG2 employee on a regular basis, was assigned to the outside area of the OR. Now on the timesheet, where your assignment, when you check in, it said OR. It didn't say outside, which that's the reason why they never gave a copy to my union rep, Ms. Lamar, because you'd have saw my name, Clark, OR, not outside the OR. Excuse me, let me see. Where was I at? A regular basis, assigned to the OR area, which is not considered a WG3 area. Therefore, Mr. Clark cannot be compensated for that time. Actually, when you actually read that, you will see that he actually contradicted himself. But then he goes on to say, I recommend Mr. Clark be compensated at the W3 level for a total of 34 days he worked in the OR. Signed, Mr. Al Rosario, Program Analyst. I'm sure you can see that. Where is his name? Trying to see if I can go down far enough. There it is. See it? Okay. Now, for those of us who just takes things at face value, this is how we lose. This is the timesheet where it states the days. Now, this is something that they provided, okay, when they did their audit. This is what they gave us. They didn't give us the actual timesheets. because it probably would have been more, but it doesn't matter. You know, what you have to take the time to look at is you have to read for yourself. And it states in the book, in the Master Agreement, this is the old 1997 version before the 2011 was updated. Um, excuse me, a general, section 1 general. This is page 32 of the old book. A detail is a temporary assignment of employee to a different position for a specific time period which the employee returning to their regular duties at the end of the detail. Details are intended only for the need of the department works requirement when necessary service cannot be obtained by other described as particularly means. Details of 1 week or more should be recorded and maintained in the official personnel folder. It's not there. This is how they get over all the time. Okay, so this is what the contact report was based on. It's section 2, temporary promotion, title 5. The temporary promotion should be initiated at the earliest date it is known by management that this detail is expected to exceed 10 consecutive workdays. The 10 consecutive workdays provision will not be circumvented by rotating employee into a high-grade position for less than 10 days in order to avoid the higher rate of pay. Now, basically, when you look at his version of what he came up with, you'll realize that's what they was trying to do. That's why he only gave those few months that and added up to 34 days. See, the problem is, it's like the Bible. You know, people have a tendency of reading a certain scripture and they take it as though if that's what it is. I'm a PK, preacher's kid. You know, we know more about the Bible sleeping in church than most of y'all know wide awake. So that's one of the reasons why I basically somewhat know this now, because something had me take the time to start reading more. I was fortunate enough to, when you go through something, you should never take the time to just try to beat yourself up and try to figure it out, voice it out to somebody. And that's what I did. And actually, that's what got me more into the Bible of a master agreement. Because further down, it says, a wage grade employee, which I am, WG, who performs a high grade of duty on a regular and reoccurring basis shall be temporarily promoted. Okay? Which means regular and continuous. See, at the time, in one of my YouTubes, you'll see that when Del Minty came along and he tried to get me to change my tour of duty was Saturday through Wednesday, which left me with Thursday and Friday off when I worked the day shift. Well, ironically, when this was actually made up, that's what put me in the reoccurring, because I couldn't have never worked 10 days when Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I'm in OR. I'm off Thursday and Friday. In the weekends, I was up in another area because, you know, OR is basically closed unless there's emergency procedures that need to be done. So I was there Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, like the book said, on a regular and continuous basis. And so that's why the EEO at the time, when she realized that, because not only did I see it, but she saw it as well. And that's why her and the director at the time kind of circling this right here, they saw through Mr. Rosario's point of contact, report of contact email. Also, with that being said, this is why we need to really start getting into the master agreement. Anytime you have a situation, but see, the problem that you're going to run into, I'm going to be honest with you, one of the reasons why I'm not a union member today is because when my union steward went to the union and she could not get any help, and we had to resort to going to the EEO who to help us with this situation, who was actually the one that finally got me paid. Everything was like clockwork. And so basically the union was not helping. The union in most cases, which I'm going to show you. The union there's a clique at the Atlanta VA Medical Center, and it's department heads, the union, and HR. And matter of fact, if you actually look at the my YouTube with I'm asking the secretary to please help EMS, you will see that they are a clique, pretty much. And also where it states in section 2, temporary promotion, and column B says temporary promotion access of 60 calendar days shall be filled through competitive procedures. Temporary promotion of less than shall be made in accordance with section 1 among qualified employees, which means this should have been a position that they should have put on USA Jobs, or they should have filled it. I worked, um, as you can see on here, I think this is double. 1 year is more than 60 days. And after the situation was over with, once Miss, oh God, what's her name? The EO at the time. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Jan Santagna came and she says, don't worry about it. I spoke with the director. That's when, I'm not saying anything about this director, but that's when that director at the time, they realized they had some things that was going on that need to be taken care of. And they were fair. They were so fair to the point to where they knew the book just as well. And she took the word, well, he took the word of the EEO and my union steward, may she rest in peace, Miss Laura Lamar. She was a saint. She was the reason why I joined the union. But um, Mr. Al Rosario at the time was my was department chief, and so ironically, when this is going to be more than it's going to be a little bit more than just the report of contact. This is going to show you in one of my YouTubes why I would not want to go see Mr. Al Rosario, and I don't trust him. He's second in charge as of today, January 2018, of the VA Medical Center. But at one point, he was my chief. He was a supervisor. Then I think he was the chief of the department. When, after that incident happened in 2005, my supervisor, Mr. Feliciano, was not there no more. And there's a YouTube about Miguel and Mitzi that you'll hear that I was on the 4th floor and I had an incident. Well, after my supervisor, Hector Feliciano left, Randy Moody was put in charge to do the evaluations. And so he came to me and I saw my evaluation and it stated fully successful. Now, fully successful is basically, I've never done fully successful work since I've been at the VA. I've always done outstanding or excellent. And a perfect example is, like I told you, my tour of duty was Saturday through Wednesday. Well, after that incident with the OR, I was on the weekends. I was on the 4th floor, and then during the course of the week, I was assigned somewhere else. But while on the 4th floor, Saturday and Sunday, I'm gonna give you I was put on there full time for my whole tour of duty. So on Monday and Tuesday, there was 2 people. On Wednesday, there was 3 people. On Thursdays and Fridays, there was 2 people on the 4th floor, the psych ward. And on Saturday and Sunday, just me, all by myself. I did. There's 2 sides to the psych ward. There's a side where, there's people that come in and that there's the care is not as far as to a certain extent. And then on the other side, it's for the ones that come in that need a little bit more treatment, that, it's the psych ward. So for those of you who worked on the psych ward, you pretty much have an idea. So for me to work both sides on Saturday and Sunday and just receive fully successful, when me and Randy Moody sat down and he showed me this and he asked me, can I sign it? And I'm like, no, I'm not signing that. I said, bruh, I work here on Saturday and Sunday by myself. I have not had one complaint since I've been working Saturday and Sunday by myself, both sides, on Saturday and Sunday. And you want to give me a fully successful? And since he was just appointed our supervisor, he says, okay, let me go speak to Al Rosario. So, of course, he went to go speak with Al Rosario. And Al, at the time, told him, no, keep it at fully successful. So, let's rewind back. Is it because you got caught? Actually, to be perfectly honest, this really can be considered falsifying government documents. That's the reason why you didn't want the union to actually have a copy of it. Because when you look at the time and what the master agreement says, I'm not going to say you lied, but according to the time frame that you have and what the book says you lied. So, you know, I think when you get caught and you only wanted to pay me for, what was it, um, 34 days? And because of the union, they paid me for, what, a few months prior to that? Let me see, 16 months of back pay? 16 months versus 34 days. I don't think you felt good about that, did you? Actually, to be perfectly honest, I'm surprised they didn't get you for falsifying government documents, because that's actually what that is. You know, I'm just saying that's what it comes across to. But of course, hey, with the click, department head, HR, and the union, yeah, all together. So if you falsify government documents, that means the union didn't catch you. Well, I'm sorry, they didn't say anything, but it's right there in black and white though. Then after that, things of course was a little hectic on that shift, and for some odd reason, that was still in, but like I said, 2005, 2006, right after I just got paid, and now all of a sudden here we're dealing with another situation, and so I decided to go to third shift after putting in numerous applications for WG3, which for some odd reason I was finding myself not qualifying for, or once before, when I'm gonna add Mr. Dale Mincy onto this. I forgot to put this on his, but why would you need to come to me and tell me before I leave your shift, which he didn't know at the time that I was leaving, that I still have the paperwork up to this day, that when I put in for WG3, only 2 females qualified for that position. Now, number one, why would you feel as though if that was necessary for you to tell me? Number two, in a department filled with males, how was that possible? Oh yeah, when I wrote my gender discrimination and when I sent it up as far as an grievance, somehow, some way, see now everything is documented. There, somehow, my application got round filed. Oh, for y'all don't know what round file means they threw it away. They took it out. Do I not think that? Well, when I mentioned me and another gentleman that put in for it, ironically, the second time around, the other gentleman got the position. Now let's go back to the 2 females. When I said my department is transparent, they wanted to give the position, may she rest in peace, to Mickey. But see, Mickey didn't want to leave her shift. See, at that time, they was moving people. Now they just keep you where they want to. There has nothing to do with seniority. They put you where they want to put you. It's not based on seniority anymore. And so Mickey didn't want it. So the other female got it automatically. Ironically, she was only in housekeeping for a short period of time before she went over to engineering. And after that, of course, I went to third shift. Then when I get to third shift, I have a couple of people coming to me because I kind of read the master agreement and see the words that are in black and white. And a homeboy of mine approached me and he says, they're trying to suspend me. I'm like, why are they trying to suspend you? And I said, just let me see the paperwork. So I looked at the paperwork and I just opened up the master agreement. Now, mind you, the union has a copy of this paperwork and HR. How many of you think actually corrected the department and said, according to the master agreement, the dates that you're trying to get them to sign versus the date that you're saying this happened, it don't match up. Well, of course, who do you think was the chief at the time? Al Rosario. So at the time when I had to do it the hard way, and I made a copy of that, and I said, go take this to the supervisor. He took it to the supervisor, and I guess they discussed it, and they realized that there wasn't a wrong. Happened twice. So just imagine, if it happened to him twice, just imagine how many more people. Now, I'm only talking about housekeeping EMS. I don't know how y'all department is going. Y'all may have it good where y'all don't have no issues. But us, oh, we got bullies. They're so transparent. We have hostile work environment. Why do you think two people just got in a fight last year? Come on now. I told the story prior that I was passing out civility memorandums. It shouldn't have never happened. The second time, when my homeboy went and told me, he came to tell me, he said, look, he said, they're trying to suspend me again. I'm like, where's the paper I gave you? Oh, I remember I had the flood. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Luckily, I had a copy. So I gave him a copy. He was like a little kid. I kept telling him, I said, don't run back and tell them. I said, because everybody knew who helping you at this point. Because, I don't know why, but for some odd reason, of course, my co-workers called me Lil JC. Y'all know who that is. Everybody have their own opinion on me. Free the juice. Anywho, his attorney, Mr. Johnny Cochran, may he rest in peace as well. I'm not on that level, but yet at the same time, I still believe that this book, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's in black and white. So when he took the paper back to the supervisor told him, he said, no, we can still suspend you based on this. Look, no, you made a mistake. Once you go to your supervisor, you go up the chain. You don't have to go back to him anymore because you've already spoken to him. And so he went to, I think, Mr. Al Rosario. And when he showed him the paperwork, I think he was reluctant, but I think he was more versed in the master agreement at that point to where he could not ride against what was in black and white because he brought it to his attention. So if he had brought it to his attention and he's seen that, basically that would have been on Al Rosario for not looking at the paperwork, not like my supervisor and chief. Not my supervisor. I have a great supervisor today. Not like my assistant chief and the chief who did not do things fairly, as you will see in one of the YouTube videos that I have, who's asking the secretary to come down and please, is there some way, somehow we can have a congressional investigation? Hey, I got it right that time. That's a hard word for me to say for some odd reason. Anywho, just imagine if I've had that situation with Mr. Al Rosario and back then, and now all of a sudden I'm supposed to sit down with him one-on-one or even with my supervisor. Do you actually think things will be fair? He's still over my department somehow, some way, because that's how a lot of stuff is getting done. How do you not see the writing? See, I still get these search results, and basically what I do is I read the search results, and one thing I find out is housekeeping. There's still OR positions in other hospitals up until this day, but yet we don't. We have OR. We have WG3s in OR, but they tell us WG3s doesn't exist when other hospitals are having them. And every time I tell somebody go talk to HR, go talk to the union, keep saying, well, it doesn't exist. But yet at the same time, it states in the book that you're supposed to show it in black and white. See, at my job, they do a lot of talking. And unfortunately, I know, excuse me, they know where it came from, where people have been sent from me. So if I had the opportunity to do it all over again, would I? It's my brother. It's my sister. This is not just for veterans. This is for my civilian workers as well, co-workers. They deserve some of the things that most people believe in at a job. We're supposed to be fair. Some of y'all don't want to understand me and don't understand me. You want to understand me? If you have Pandora, pull up a station called Mr. Gil Scott Heron, and you'll pretty much have an idea why I'm starting to do this today. Because Mr. Gil Scott Heron, Mrs. Gil Scott Heron said the revolution will not be televised. But Miguel says it will be YouTube. Thank you very much and have a blessed day.